Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Tonight, we take a closer look at the latest developments shaping the communications and digital economy space, from spectrum optimization and 5G rollout challenges to the status of right-of-way reforms, the fiber optic expansion, and the government's new compliance framework aimed at holding operators more accountable. What about the infrastructure of digital communications of information here? A lot needs to be done. Don't forget that the federal government yesterday launched and made public the concept of the 3MTT. What is this all about? Joining us tonight is the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, who will shed light on what the government is doing to address Nigeria's frustrations, what operators must do going forward, and how ongoing reforms are expected to transform the country's digital landscape and, in fact, provide jobs for the team and youth in the country. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for joining us tonight.
Pleasure to be here, Sheon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much indeed. 3MTT, yes. What does this mean?
3 million technical talent. It came out of, if you remember, when the president came into office, he said he wanted to create 1 million technical jobs. And when ministers were appointed, we looked at the landscape for technology jobs, not just in Nigeria, globally, understanding that the Nigerian technology talents are not only being sought after only from Nigeria, but also abroad as well. And we realized that there were significant gaps all over the world. Actually, as at the time we were coming in, I think there were around over 4.5 million unfilled jobs in the technology space. And because artificial intelligence in itself was also emerging strongly, it was also projected that there was going to be about 170 million new technology jobs being created in the next about 5 years or so. So we saw that the president's agenda of creating a 1 million technical job is actually achievable. But the reality is that, do we have the people with that talent? Because I come from the startup ecosystem. I know that the pool of technology talent that is actually built, the current technology ecosystem in Nigeria, is nowhere near 100K. So if we can truly create 1 million technical jobs, we can go for that. That was how we set the target, to say, let's set a target for ourselves over the next 4 to 5 years to train 3 million. If we're lucky, because of the churn rate, some of these people will end up taking it seriously, some may not. Some may decide not to continue in that career path. So if we get about 30 to 40% of them, we'll be able to achieve the president's goal. So that's what our program is about. I think it's one of the programs that everyone should be proud of in this country, because when we launched it, we got about 1.8 million applications from every single local government, every state, every local government. But we took a phased approach. We said we'll start with 1%, 10%, 100%. So we've done the first 2 phases. We've learned from that. The president is now demanded that we create a fund, a talent fund for digital economy that we can then use to support the full rollout.
3 million technical talent. So it's, I mean, but these are in digital areas anyways.
Yes, in digital.
All right, like training how to code.
Yes, software development, product development, cybersecurity, all the range. I think it's about 12 or so different areas, themes that we're training.
So you have to go to a particular portal.
Oh, you go to a website. The website is quite popular. What I always say to people is, any social media of your choice, go to the search option, put number 3, MTT, and I think the rest is history. You will
so
see
if you go on the web also, you
can search it now. Any social media.
Let's get that done.
Any social media platform.
I mean, I'm always very excited. You know why?
Let's do it. Let's do it live.
And we'll check
we should do it live.
You know, let me tell you. I have an average of 100 persons every year that I have the burden of getting jobs for.
Absolutely.
I mean, quietly, nobody knows that. But people think that I have a leverage to help them get jobs. So I have an average of 100 people. Just imagine 100 people every year asking me to help them with opportunities and jobs. So when I hear opportunities of jobs, I always jump on it.
I think when we talk about jobs, what we don't talk about is the skills gap, right? So we do have a lot of people that may not have the skill set that the market is looking for. At the Impact Summit yesterday, The founder of Money Point was there. I don't want to misquote the exact number, but I think it was close to 700 on-field technology jobs that they have, that they don't have enough people with the skill set. So he was excited about the program that we're running. And he was saying, you know, if this program can truly help to skill people, give them the right skill set, we can get them there. Of course, because a lot of these people are still entry level, we have to ensure that when we train them, we also find them opportunity to practice, you know, and that's what we've done. So we have the EU and UNDP actually, through the Jubilee Fellowship Program, paying for these people to get internship opportunities so that they can hone their skills and then become valuable for employers.
So the process had started already.
We started.
People are already being trained.
Oh yeah, we've trained 135,000. This program started.
So you're targeting 3 million.
3 million. Yeah.
So you've done about less than 200,000.
So we've done. So there are two ways in which we train. You can go on the portal and learn. So that's what we call the online learning option. But there's also what we call the cohort-based learning. Okay. So every 6 months, we onboard a new set of people, and they have physical centers that they have to go to go learn. So those ones, we've trained 135,000 of those cohort-based learning. But there's over 300,000 that have learned on the platform.
What is the duration of the training?
6 months. It's typically 6 months. But we then do challenges, we do innovation. That's what I'm saying. If you go to any social media, not just the web, go to a social media platform, put 3MTT, you see a lot of the participants actually self-reporting. Yeah?
So are they being paid when they're doing that?
So the president wanted us to pay them stipend while learning. We're still working that out. But what we do is that we run innovation challenges every month. And those of them that are able to put what they've learned into practice and show us the stuff they build, we give them things like laptop, we give them internet opportunity to be able to learn at home. We also know that a lot of these people actually don't have their own personal devices. So we've worked with 201 applied learning centers all over the country, 201 applied learning centers all over. And these are spaces where they can go. In some of those spaces, there's laptop, there's good internet that they can use to learn, just to ensure that we reduce the barrier for them as much as possible.
So now, I mean, I've gone on Instagram. No, on Instagram. So this is what it looks like, the web. And I can see the 3 million technical talent on Instagram and on Twitter. Also, X is also there. And if you, wherever you may be, I mean, there are millions of unemployed Nigerian youth out there who are looking for the opportunity. Maybe this is just an opportunity. If you know someone who knows another person who needs a job, who needs an opportunity, who are idle at home, who are not able to get gainfully engaged, it may not be a job right now, but at least you get the training and the skill set right now. Quickly go on there, because when these opportunities come, don't let us see the wrong side of things every time. This is a positive one, isn't it? So go on all your social media and also check it out. But Minister, I have a challenge for you.
Yes,
you are training, but the question is the actual jobs, right? Because it's beyond me having a skill set. It's me being able to feed myself.
Absolutely.
How does these translate from training, skill set, that's empowerment in one sense, to actual jobs?
So we actually have a dedicated team that is focused on placement. What we've realized in technology is that it's one thing to spend 6 months learning. It's another thing to be ready for the jobs that are out there. So like I was saying earlier, we've actually created a program that puts these folks into internship positions in some of the technology companies. And what we have is in companies where they're saying, we don't need interns because we don't want to pay them, they won't add value immediately. We secure the support of the EU and UNDP through the Jubilee Fellowship Program to actually pay their salary for 1 year. And they've done close to, I think, about 3,000 of those people. From the record we have, we've actually also supported in placing over 15,000 of these people. And we know that that number is small. We know that the number is small. But the reason for that is that there's still a lot of work that we need to do to continue to polish these people up. But what we're also doing is now partnering with folks who can help with foreign placement, because there are so many foreign companies that are looking for Nigerian folks to work with them locally. So BPO services, for instance, there's a number of those companies that we're signing up. So they pay our people with these foreign jobs so that they can work remotely. Some of them earn dollars in the process. We're not stopping. There's no hard, fast way of getting this done. It's a very painful process. And the team behind it is working so hard to get it right. And that's why I always say to people, don't just look at the website, any social media of your choice. Put 3MTT there, and you see the testimonial from the participants. Right. That's what I want people to see, actually.
I would like you also to do a bit of a work.
Sure.
And I'm not giving you any consultants because maybe government may not be able to pay for it. But look, I mean, some of the things that some of us are being taught in our expert area of study is the fact that communication is halfway into governance. Whatever you're doing doesn't make sense to the average person if it's not properly communicated. If you have the opportunity to push as much of those testimonials to the faces of Nigerians, let Nigerians know what that can also inspire those who do not know. Well, let me be particular. And look, I'm going to hold you by the trouser, Minister, not literally speaking, but you are from that sector. You are not just someone who was in the classroom. You are literally practicing and training people and creating hubs. In some other climes, and there you will find a lot of those who work in the United States who are living in Pakistan and in India, who have never been to the United States, but the jobs are cheaper being farmed out of the United States. There isn't, if you know one, can you please tell me, in Nigeria where you can just walk in with your laptop, really have internet and power. These kind of hubs, maybe it will help. And those who think that we need these kind of hubs, as in other clients where you literally can work in and gives you the opportunity to be able to do digital jobs.
So I think you're describing two things. One is whether there are hubs, physical hubs, where you can walk in with your laptop and there's power. There's thousands of that in Nigeria. That was my bread and butter. Right. CC Hub, which I co-founded, which is in Yaba, started that concept. It was the very first one in Nigeria. And there are tons of it. So even entrepreneurs like Ian Oluwaboyeje has just announced a couple of others. There's one that we're now talking to the gentleman that is running the transportation hub in Oshodi. There's almost 15,000 square meters there that we're now working to convert into a large-scale talent hub, where kids coming from every part of Lagos can go into. But beyond that as well, NCC, for instance, if you remember the hub that was burnt down in Kano, that were renovated, that's now been done. It's for the same thing. The same hub exists in Abeokuta. There's about 3 being built in Borno. UNDP alone is building, I think, close to 10 or 15
So when people have their laptops, their iPads,
they can do gold,
just walk in there and you can...
NIDA has been building. Our country is a large country, however. There are thousands of these things. We still need so much more to reach our people. But as a practitioner coming from that industry, I can also tell you that as a minister, one thing I've been conscious of is it's not enough to build those centers. You need professionals who can manage them so that they can keep the lights on, they can pay for internet, those centers can be sustainable, and they have the right people there to head the young people. That's part of what we're creating. With 3MTT, through the support of IHS, we actually hired 37 young people that we call community managers in every state of this country and FCT. And they've been working with us since the inception of the program, December 2023. Their role is also to identify those kind of centers, work with those centers. The folks that have applied for 3MTT in their states, they take them into... So yesterday when we had a program at the State House, banquet hall, they actually were the ones who led all these people down to Abuja to have that impact summit. And on stage, we had so many of them talking about their experiences.
So the other part of my question, I'm happy that this kind of hubs, and now you refresh my memory. Yolu, of course, told me about how one also started in Ilorin, quite interesting.
Which is one of the best in West Africa.
And we actually need to start talking so much about this so that people can hear and understand. If you don't know things exist, and under your nose, some of these opportunities are there. But for me, it's also placing Nigeria as now a new global hub for digital skills. So that the rest of the world knows that if you want this kind of skill set, go to Nigeria. Is there anything that the government of the day is doing to say, look, Nigeria is the new Pakistan, Nigeria is the new India, Nigeria is the new China. If you're looking for this kind of skill set, come here?
Actually, the Minister of Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, she has a program that was initially prepared that she's now fine-tuning that is meant to focus on exporting Nigerian talent, not just in technology space, but generally for those companies that want Nigerian talent to work for them. And Nigeria is already recognized as the destination for technical talent. Immediately after COVID, we actually lost a lot of talent to the UK. So UK has a program that is called, I think, Talent something, that is called Technology Talent Program, that lets people come in with digital skill set, and they give them visa. The bulk of our people that left for Canada were also based on that. But what the new thing we're seeing in Nigeria is there are now businesses that are saying to these companies, you don't need to bring these folks over if you don't have to get them over. We can set up sweatshop here where they can actually work for you from our spaces. We coordinate them. They do everything you need to do. The environment is there. For instance, there's a lady in Abuja that is called Amal. Amal has a company that does business process outsourcing that I believe is employing over 1,000 young people in this Abuja. And they're in a space where they work for foreign companies in the US and all over the world. So Nigeria is coming to that point. We're not there yet. We're not at where you find the likes of India, where India used to be with BPO. And if you also follow, actually the vice president has been leading a program to ensure that Nigeria become a BPO destination, which is quite strong as well. 6
billion in commitment funding.
It's not commitment, so that's money already spent.
Okay, spent already.
Yeah, the first phase of the program was fully funded by the private sector.
Okay.
And the way we did the funding was extremely transparent. They didn't give the money to government. So the centers, the 201 centers that we used to train these people all over the country, we had to support them with resources to keep the center open. So for instance, when MTN gave us the resources, that money was given to Lagos Business School, and Lagos Business School managed the disbursement to those centers. It did not come to the government.
6 billion?
6 billion from IHS, from IHS, from MTN, Google is also spent, Airtel also is spent a lot. Airtel's money is not managed by government as well. It's used for specific things. So you can tell that the industry actually sees the value in this, and it's something that they want to see.
Minister, you know, I always, I mean, going away from you, you know, I always look for trouble with you, especially because I have problem trying to, and I'm not the only one, drop calls, bad. It's been horrible in the last 2-3 days. What is the cause, though?
So I'll be very specific on the one, because you're in Abuja, right? And this is not Eden. So there's been a particular case between the company that is responsible for managing most of the towers in the country and their supplier of diesel. There's a court case between them, and that supplier used the union to shut down some towers in Abuja. In fact, it's a case that we've been dealing with, and we've been trying to get those towers back up because they didn't allow supply of diesel to those towers. That's what's responsible for the drop costs that you've been seeing in Abuja. On a bigger level, I know, Seun, you and I have had this conversation. I want us to look at some of the challenges we face in this country from a very constructive point of view. And that's what's unique about the president that we have today. He's not taking shortcut approach to fixing problems. I raise my hand up and I say, as a minister, with the support I've gotten from the president, there are 2 significant projects that I've worked hard on in the last 2 years, that by next year, their actual implementation will start. It's taking 2 years because one of them requires $2 billion US that we had to raise money for. And we've been able to raise the government contribution in that money. We're now speaking to the private sector. They are all on board. We're setting up SPV. If we're able to implement 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic network, the conversation we have on quality of service is going to go away significantly. What people don't pay attention to is that in the last 10 years, the consumption for bandwidth, the capacity that we consume as a country is gone up by 7x. But the investment in infrastructure is not matched that consumption. More Nigerians, due to things like affordable devices, due to the fact that we now use more content. If you remember, in the last 10 years, Instagram became a lot more popular. In the last 10 years, WhatsApp became a thing. Most calls are being made on WhatsApp. What we consume is gone up by 70x. That's what we've seen, 70x. But the infrastructure to back that is not growing.
How many kilometers of these construction do we have? The last time you gave us an update.
This is what I'm saying. From day one of this project, we've been saying that construction is not going to start until the end of Q2 next year.
Yeah.
Anybody that understands how infrastructure project works, especially for one that is not being funded by government, the process of getting investors to agree to a project and put money into it, that in itself is significant. I tell you, if I leave my job today, I will feel fulfilled because I've already done the major part of raising that money. So whether it's myself or another minister that is coming, the resources to get that project done will not be the problem.
And that will be very significant for us
it's a legacy.
The
The president considers it as a legacy project because imagine Nigeria now has fiber optic net. Your studio will be connected to the fiber, not dongle. A lot of us, we use dongle. We shouldn't be using dongle. Schools should not use dongle.
Although the president said that he watches the social media, according to his, they abuse him, There will be more abuses from Nigeria because it's going to be easier, the network is going to be faster. That's on a joking level. But seriously speaking, and I understand that if some of this infrastructure are done, we might be able to have a better connectivity.
We will, not might. We will.
But Minister, Nigerians want you to hold the telcos accountable because these drop calls is in the mind. I mean, you've worked and you've been around the world and you know how some of these things are done. If telcos and operators will disappoint you, they will do it in such a way that they will make you feel good.
When I come to your program, you know what I like about your program is how thorough you get on things, and that's why I also like to get thorough in giving information, right? The picture I've painted to you right now to show you, I said two things. I spoke about the drop calls in Abuja in the last few days, the source. I don't have to share that kind of information, right? That is not just a telco issue. We've seen it. NCC has been working with them to say, what's the problem? But they realize where the problem is. And we're already getting involved with the union that is shutting down these towers, because if they continue, then people will have trouble. But beyond that as well, is also the investment into the sector. What I described to you is an indication that from both the private and the public sector, there is a need for significant investment in telecommunication infrastructure. If you go to China, China has just 5G. China has over 4 million 5G towers. The total towers we have in Nigeria is just above 40,000. Just 5G towers alone. I know China is a big country, but see, if you take the proportion, so there's still significant investment.
Is there a possibility that the government also, because there are sectors, the government really gave a push to telecommunications.
That's what we're doing
way earlier.
That's what we're doing under President Tinubu.
So we're getting more investment in allowing the private sector to also breathe, because they're talking about their tariffs that has never been touched. I mean,
well, we now did it now. They're not declaring bumper profit this year. We've done it. And you know what we've noticed? When we allow the tariff to move slightly in January, we've seen over 1 billion worth of equipment being purchased by these companies. But it's still not going to move fast enough. If you pay attention, two weeks ago, at the Federal Executive Council, the President and the FEC approved that we invest in close to 4,000 towers in rural areas. There are about 23 million Nigerians today, mostly in the north, east, north central, northwest, that are not connected at all. They live in small rural areas. So now the government is actually saying the companies may not want to go there because you don't have a lot of people living in those places. So the profit opportunity for them is not significant. So we want to go there and invest in towers so that we can connect our people and ensure that no one is left behind.
Quickly, let's close on this. And I'll take you on the issue of how your ministry, the intersection between your ministry and national security.
Absolutely.
There are reports of kidnapping and using unregistered or fraudulently registered SIMs. Why do these SIMs still exist in the system despite the NIN SIM linkage policy of Nigeria?
I cannot. So what you've put to me is whether it's fact to you, I don't know where you're getting that from. And I don't know who has that evidence that there are people with SIMs that are not registered.
We just imagine that with BVN, with NIN, these guys are making calls. We should be able to track them with some level of
it's more technical than that.
Communication.
It's more technical than that. There was an exercise that was conducted by the telcos to clean out all SIMs. The reason why the president actually pushed us to invest in towers in those areas was the fact that we realized that there was a special kind of technology that they were using to call. They weren't using the normal towers. They bounce calls off multiple towers. When they leave, that's why they enjoy living in areas where it's unconnected at all. And when we're talking about these things, is why we're upgrading the 2 satellites we have, that if our towers are not working, our satellites will work, because Nigeria is the only country in West Africa with satellites, with communication satellites. We're now bringing new satellites to upgrade the capabilities of those. Is why we're investing in the fiber. Is also why by next year this project is going to start. I'm speaking to you about it. We're doing it with Huawei, 4,000 towers in those rural areas.
So how soon will any of our satellites come on stream?
Satellites, that one is the 3rd leg of the project. That would take longer than the other 2, because the other 2 they're already well progressed.
Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, always a pleasure having you on the program. I wish you the very best.
Thank
Not
you so
the
much.
easiest of things. Yes, calls might be easier to dial, but dialing your way through this sector, it could be a very
But we're doing a fantastic job. I think we're extremely fortunate that the president has actually been supportive, whether it's in critical national infrastructure declaration, harmonization of taxes, whether it's in the tariff that is given the company. You know, when the president came was when he signed the Data Protection Act into law as well. He supported 3MTT. I think we're on a path to something. And I just hope Nigeria will follow. And when the fruits start to come, we'll all enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bosun Tijani, for joining us now. But the good news here, everyone, go 3MTT. I'm always very excited about some of these opportunities. It's not all about gloom and doom in our nation. There's some opportunities also. Go get it. And if you have anyone that needs the opportunity, let them get a skill set. That's how I'll close the program tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. God bless you.